Rotate the wheel. Go back. Okay, you'll have to do it like that.
You started already.
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
Cool. We'll just have to hang about for a couple of minutes. So a little bit about the vehicle and the sub that we're going to be using. Obviously it's an Audi TT MK2. I believe it's an 8J model, which means that the battery is in the back rather than being in the front of the vehicle. If you're going to be doing this at home, that's going to help you in a massive way, because you don't have to get a cable from the boot to the engine bay of the vehicle. That's going to make life so much easier. I'm guessing this is going to take around half an hour, maybe 45 minutes. I'm hoping to get a little bit of play, come with. I'm hoping to get a little bit of extra time because I've also bought some LED lights that are going to go above the subwoofer on the fixed parcel shelf, which is that bit there of the Audi TT. So I'm hoping to fix these underneath, and that will light up the subwoofer when I'm tinkering about with it and driving along. But that is something I may do in a later video, depending on how much time we get here and now. Okay, 12 o'clock, so we're going to get started. If Lou, you want to go round to the other side of the car and get in the passenger seat, and we'll go there. Let's go. Let's do this. So with this car, quite a funny thing happened. And that is that the fixing brackets for the head unit, this is a Android head unit, and the clips that hold the head units into the compartment there, they actually snapped. And so I had to kind of improvise getting that working in the car. So what I did is I super glued it. Now I need to get the stereo out again. I have to unsuper glue it, which doesn't work. So I'm just going to have to cut it out, unfortunately. But that shouldn't be too big of a deal. With a decent Stanley knife, I should be able to get that out relatively easily. As you can see, that's one side done.
Have you got super glue to stick it back in?
I have, yep. So obviously that's something else you want to keep in mind. If you are super gluing this like I am, you're going to need some to get the gear stick out of the way there, and you are met with the lovely wiring system, the loom of the car. Now I've already got a couple of extra speakers wired into this. It's a little bit of a mess, as you can see, but it's just one of those things that is never going to look good. It's always going to look like a complete mess. So what you want to do is you want to find the blue cable, which should be labelled up remote, or in this case has no markings on it whatsoever. So that's helpful, we like that. We have one here that says key 2, auto antenna. That's going to be your live. Auto.
So in Japanese.
Amp left. Amp L, amp right. So, aux in. We have video out. We don't want any of that. No video out. We don't want any of that. That's not what we're looking for here. That's in there. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be this is a bit of a funny wiring loom, in the sense that it's a bit different coloured to what you'd traditionally get on a car system, but we're going to go for it nonetheless. So we have aux in right. Where's the amp left, amp right? Right, so first thing we want to do is get these covers off. Once the amp is out, once the head unit is out, you've got all this lovely space behind here to get in what you want to get in. Now, I've actually already thrown the cable down here if we come and taken this out. Now, all this is there's a rubber grill there. You just pop that out with a screwdriver. You just wedge the flathead screwdriver behind it, pop it out. There's a little bit of plastic underneath it. Again, there's a little slit at the back that you just pop out as well, and that reveals this. And as you can see, that's where the manufacturers have wired their cables as well. So we're going to hopefully jump into that. So what we're going to need to do is, first off, I'm going to grab the cables that we're going to be using. Stay there, please. Still no one in there.
Where does it say it? Where the little people sign is?
Yeah.
No.
0.
Oh, it's a B.
Okay, so this is the cable that we're going to be using to get the audio to the back of the car. Just check that down there. And this is the cable that we're going to be using to get the remote signal to the back of the car. So this cable here is going to tell the car tell the amp when to switch on and off. This cable here is going to give the signal for the audio that we want. This basically doesn't need to be a very big cable because this only takes frequency. It doesn't actually take any power at all, and so that can be a relatively small cable. So as you can see, I've already got a cable ready and waiting there, but we're going to use this nice new cable. So what we're going to do is latch this onto it. This is a good time. It's a fun time. So we're going to tie this on.
Don't you have to stick them into each other?
No, because one's getting pulled out. I'm not using one of the cables. I've just put this in for a draw tape. So I'm going to use this to pull through.
Ah, I see.
To the other end. So that's connected on. We also want the remote cable connected on. And then all we're going to do basically is pull. Once that's connected on there, give that a little tap at the end, so when you want to unstick it, you've got something to grab onto. It's a pet peeve of mine. And then grab the other end, and the other end. So you want to grab that and pull, and that should pull that through. Once you get all the knots out. Good stuff. And that should pull that through to this end of the car, and that's going to be our front to back cable. As you can see, it's quite tight. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I guess that's open for interpretation of how the car is manufactured. There's our cables. We're going to pull as much of this through as possible, because we're going to need a lot more cable at the back end of the vehicle than at the front end of the vehicle. So we're going to keep going, and keep going. And then do you know what we're going to do, Lou?
Keep going.
We're going to keep going, yes! So this is our new cable ready to be wired in. Get them just about to the, once the gear stick is in 4th gear, you want them just to be able to reach that. So just about that length. And then go from there. So with these cables, we want audio out right, red and red. Audio out left, white and white, or black on black, that sometimes is. And we're going to tape them up so we don't have problems in future with the cables becoming loose. Believe me, it's happened to me in my younger days, and it is so infuriating knowing that you've got to undo all of your work simply because the cable has popped out. So we're going to prevent that from happening today with just a little bit of tape, nice and tight, and just wrap it around just a few times. It's not going to be holding up bricks or anything, but it's just to hold these connectors in. Hold them together. Okay, and then we want our blue cable, which is the remote cable. That's going to tell the amp when to switch on and off. Give that a little cut there, so you've got a nice end to it. Then we want the blue cable from the head unit. Join those together. Like so. Fold that over in itself so you've got a really good, nice, tight connection. And then if I reach into my magic pocket, I've got one of these which is called a Wago. This is what professional electricians use to make a quick connection. And all you do is open that up. That goes over the end. Make sure the cable is right up to the end. You can check that on the other side, and then clip that down. And that's a connection made. That's it. That's everything you need to do for the front of the vehicle, so long as you've got your battery in the boot. So that's done. We're going to move now to the rear of the vehicle. We're going to go to the boot, if Lou would like to join me. And we're going to clear out the boot, which is probably something maybe I should have done beforehand. But there's not a lot in there, so it's not too bad. And then what we're going to do is take out this rear boot cover. Put that on the floor. And then we're going to push the front seats down. Keep back here because I'm too tight. Seats coming forward. I can't find the mover. Where's the seat mover thingamabob?
Underneath, isn't it?
It should be. Oh, I got it. It's a lot more forward than I thought. Okay, and then put that seat forward. So if you stay there, Lee. So I am now obviously in the back of the Audi TT, which is really a car not known for its rear space, unfortunately. One of those things that Audi...
I like your Thomas cushion.
My Thomas cushion rocks. Don't be knocking the Thomas cushion. Thomas cushion is awesome. Right, so you want to take the two cables that we've just installed, stretch them out nice and straight, and take the tape off that you previously used to pull it through. That can all come off now. That's probably going to be the most difficult part of our day.
Woo! Ooh.
B?
Oh, spider. Look.
It's a friendly little spider. Okay, so tape off. Just throw that in the back like you do. And then we want to go underneath the seat, underneath the rear seat of the vehicle. Can you see that?
I can hear a bee.
Can you see how awkward it is? Okay, so what you're probably best off doing here is putting the blue remote cable through first, and then using that again as a pull cable for the two auxiliary cables. And that's probably going to make life just a little bit easier on you. So as you can see, I've got that through. Pull it all the way. You don't want any cable left over. So that can come. And then there's actually another loom here at the bottom. Can you see that? Can you see that loom there?
Yeah.
So you're probably best off just tucking that with that cable going into the boot. Can you see that at the back underneath the in the boot space?
See what?
The cable that I'm feeding through should be a blue cable. It's going to come through here, and that's it. I didn't feed it through the bottom of this. Reverse, reverse, reverse. So what I forgot to do there is there's a little bit of extra here that I just needed to go underneath. And that's it, that's what's held us up. And once again, follow this other cable. Put that through into the boot. And then pull to your heart's content. That's ready to go. Same with the audio cables. They need to go underneath this because you don't want them poking out into the car while you're driving along. It looks very unprofessional. I've seen quite a few other YouTubers that have done this and left these cables exposed or wired them down the doorways and things like that of the vehicle. Obviously wouldn't advise that because it's just not good practice and it looks rubbish. So we're doing this professionally. Again, follow that other cable. Hook that through. And obviously this cable is going to put up a fight because it's got the thicker ends, but ultimately it will go. So those cables are now ready to go. I'm going to leave. Oh. Always remember to leave plenty of slack on those cables because you're going to want to pull those back a little bit, and you're going to want to tidy those up, cable tie them to the other cables so it looks like a professional job. So in here, got your cables there. What we're going to do is we're going to just leave a bit of slack on them so that I can pair them in later. And we're going to bring them out there. Then we're going to put the boot cover back in. We're going to put the sub in roughly where we want it, which for me is going to be sitting behind at the centre. So that's roughly going to go there like that. And then you're going to want to just make a small hole. This is only wood, this here, so don't worry about being gentle with it. Just be nasty, be mean, be aggressive, embrace your inner man, and just give that a nice tidy hole there. That's what she said. Once that's done, really give that a nice hold, ready for the cables to go through. Then give it another one for the power cables. Again, it's only wood, so don't worry about breaking it or anything. You can just force the screwdriver through. And they're ready to go. Then what you're going to want to do is grab your cables that you've taken through from the front of the vehicle, and feed them into I need to give it a bigger hold once. So again, just make the hole with your screwdriver, as big as you can. And then poke your cables through. Don't want to go, does it, babe? So, a pair of cutters, put that between the two holes and cut. Wiggle that out just to give it as much play as you can. So after a little fight, it's gone in. Again with the red, that's in, ready to go. And then with the blue, and that's in there ready to go. So you should end up these cables sticking out like that into the top of the boot space. Now at this point we're also going to want to put in the live cable. This is going to run back to the battery to power the sub. The blue cable that we've previously installed, that basically just tells the sub when to switch on and off. This cable will actually power the sub, so this has to be a much thicker cable. I don't know if you can see that. Much thicker cable, and that is because that is going to be taking all of the power to the sub directly from the battery. Now I've seen a lot of people that will link out this cable to the remote connection and the live supply connection of the sub. Now keep in mind that if you do that, your sub is going to be permanently on, and so if you come out one day, dead battery, you've only yourself to blame. Where's that other cable? 1 second. So same again with the neutral cable. We just want to take that off there, bring that from the sub over to the neutral. This might not be long enough, but that doesn't matter, I can make it longer. Again, just force that through there, show it who's boss, no need to be gentle with it. So what you should end up with is that in the boot of your car. Now once this is all installed and laid down, that is going to look lovely. You're just going to see those cables poking out and they're going to go directly up to the amplifier, and it's going to look such a professional job. So next job is grab your sub and amplifier, put them in the boot. If you can come around this side. And then basically you just want to wire them in. So we're going to cut that cable there. Going to give this a nice cut. Get the ends, fray them out so they make 2 ends. You getting this, yeah?
I'm getting it.
You're getting it. Are you learning?
I'm learning.
Are you glad you decided to date an electrical engineer?
Yeah.
Because electrical engineers are the gods, aren't they?
God of what?
Everything. So there you go. That's the 2 ends that you're going to want ready for. 1 second, just need to grab Phillips. What have I done with my Phillips screwdriver, babe? There it is. So we've got the 12 volt positive, which is basically live if you're an electrician. We don't go by 12 volts or anything, we just say live. Once that's split into 2, get that hole as big as you can, that's what she said. And then feed those into it. This might take a little bit of time, this, but as you can see, if you do it right, you do it right. No copper showing, no connections between other terminations. No connections between other terminations, and as you can see, that's a nice clean fit. See that? And that's nice and tight. Second cable is going to be your remote. Now earlier I showed you this goes into the back of the head unit. I showed you how to connect to that. That's going to go, cut it roughly the same length as the live cable. Now this one you're not going to need to split between two. This one you can just have as one. It's a much thinner cable, so you don't need to be as touchy with it. So give that a nice end, fold it over to give it a nice thick end, and again that's just going to go into the remote section, the remote termination. Make sure not to catch any rubber or cable insulation on the connection, otherwise that will build up amps that will overheat, and that will become a problem for you later on once the termination has melted. That's not a good thing to do. So make sure there's no cable exposed, no copper showing, and make sure that there's no insulation pinching on the connection. In that case, you may as well just give your amp a death sentence because it's just going to overheat. Okay, it's going to make a weak spot. Okay, so with the audio cable, which is your aux cable, your red and the black, you're going to want to come around to the other side of this. Do you want to come around behind me? As you can see, this is a brand new amplifier, so I've got the covers still on the inputs. Those two connectors basically go into that. And we're very nearly done actually with the wiring of this amplifier. It looks a lot, but it's really not. So again, you can pull through, just make that look all nice and tidy. I will be using cable ties to fix all this into position once I'm done, but that's going to sit roughly around there, like so. So your last cable, which is your neutral, this is another one that's quite a thick cable, so you're going to want to cut that, split it into two sides because of the type of connection that we're making. So split that into two ways, like so. You got that? So you want to make that like that. And then make that a U shape. Make that a U shape like that. Now obviously I've made them too long. That's going to be a problem. So all you need to do is hold that up against it to see how much excess you've got. Once you've got them in the U shape, and then just cut those off. And again, you need to ensure you don't get any cable exposed when that's terminated into the block, and you need to ensure that you don't get any insulation stuck in the block with the tightening of the screw. Otherwise you're going to cause a build-up of amps, and that's just going to burn everything out. So once again, just feed that in there. You can see how perfect that is. No copper showing, no insulation tagged underneath the connection. Tighten that up, make it nice and tight. Same with the others, just make sure they're in there really tough, really tight. And then once we're at the point where we want to start making things nice and finishing it off, what I'm going to do is this will be cable clipped across, like so. Cable clipped across there, cable clipped down. Then I'll join these cables in with it. They'll be manoeuvred round like that. Can you see that? They'll be manoeuvred round like that. Always leave a little bit of slack there so you're not putting any pull on the cable. As you can see, I can push that out with my finger and it's not going anywhere. So leave a little bit of slack on there, loop them around like that, and then just feed that into the bottom to just make it look pretty, basically. Okay, so that's ready to go. So the next part is with the Audi TT. This is actually quite handy. I love the fact that they've basically built the boot compartment compatible with fitting a sub to it. It just seems like they thought, you know what, people are going to fit subs to these cars, let's make it as easy as possible for them. And we're very grateful of that, aren't we, Lou?
Very. Fabulous.
Fabulous. Okay, so first cable we're going to want to deal with, and keep in mind this is the first cable you want to deal with every time, whether that be you're about to jump start a car, whether that be you're about to wire anything in anywhere, in fact even in your house or anything. Always start with the neutral because it doesn't take any power straight away, and then move on to the live. So the live here, we're just going to put ready. As you can see, we've got a fuse on this, which is going to protect the amplifier and the cable. Make sure that's all intact, which it is. We've also got a fuse up here to protect the amplifier. And I know that that's intact because it's brand new, but that's ready to go. So your neutral cable, what you're going to want to do is grab your handy spanners. Okay, that's the one. So this is a bit of a boring part, to be honest. All we need to do now is to just take the live off the, take the neutral off the termination from the battery. You might see a few sparks here. How many people are watching?
None now, there was 3.
Okay, that's nice. So we just want to take this neutral off with the proper bought wiring kit with all the cables. That what they've done is they've given us loops on the end of those cables anyway to connect our sub cable onto. Again, very grateful. Oh God. So actually, if you're doing this at home, this will give you a little bit of time to catch up, I guess, or to grab a cup of coffee, something, because this is just a necessary part, but quite a boring part. And unfortunately, as good as this car is to work on in installing the car,
Installing a car?
installing a subwoofer. Thanks for that.
So you're installing a car into your car?
I'm installing a car into my car. Words are difficult. People know that. I suppose I can edit this bit out afterwards.
It's live, honey.
Oh yeah, but it saves it so I can adopt it afterwards. Ugh.
Can't you just do it with your fingers?
No, 'cause there's too small a gap there. I can't get my fingies in there. Come on. Still can't get my fingies in there. Oh. Come on. Yes, that's it. Can you see that? So as you can see, you've got your live cable, you've got your neutral cable there, you've got your pin there. So all we're going to do is loop that through. Like so. And then we're going to tighten that back up. Oh, I dropped it. In fact, no, I'm not. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put that through, and put that on there, and put that on there. Save a bit of time. Right. Okay. So now that's on. That's on. By the way, don't worry if your car starts to lights flicker or anything like that. It's just the power going back through the system having been disconnected. It's not strong enough, it's only 12 volts, so it's not strong enough to get through a person, and therefore you can't get an electric shock from it. Working with these live is absolutely safe. You're not going to get a shock from it. It's very low voltage, which means it doesn't have the push to get through a human body. But that also means it's very high power. So you'll find that a standard UK socket runs in a house runs at 230 volts and a maximum of 13 amps. Amps kill, volts burn. This runs at 12 volts, but this will run at about 30 amps. So if you were to get a shock from this, it would kill you instantly. However, it doesn't have the power to put that power, it doesn't have the strength to put that power through your body. So with that, it's completely safe. It's the same principle as a 12 volt electric shower. Although you've got electricity going into a watered environment, it doesn't have the power to push the energy through a human body, and therefore it's completely safe. And that's the difference between English and American systems, or European systems and American systems, because it's much easier to get an electric shock in England, but should you get an electric shock in America, it'll hurt a hell of a lot more because it's lower voltage, higher amps, and as I said, amps kill. So this is draining the life out of my body, but it's a necessary evil. Obviously the manufacturers want this to be a tight connection. They want this to be a little bit difficult to make you, one, to deter you from doing it in the first place, and two, to annoy you. Yeah. So we're nearly there with the neutral cable for the subwoofer. And once this is done, It's only the live cable that needs to be connected, and then tidying up. So it's very, very simple in the Audi TT MK2. Now, if you have a car where the battery is in the front of the vehicle, it's exactly the same wiring. The only difference is you have to find a place below the dashboard where you can poke these cables, the live and neutral, through to the engine bay to connect onto the battery. Now, I've seen a lot of people that would simply just find a little bit of metal with a hole in it and poke the cables through. Please don't do that, because what you'll find is while you're driving, all those vibrations, they're going to rock the cable around, they're going to cut into that cable, and then you're going to short the battery, and that's going to absolutely just drain the battery within seconds. You'll be driving along, it will come into contact with the neutral, or the body of the car, the chassis of the car, and it will just instantly cut out. Your car will just cut out instantly. So you want to make sure that there's nothing along the cable that can cut it, shred it, anything like that. And that's how you're going to do a safe installation. So like I said, once this cable is connected up, after a millennium of tightening this bolt up, it's going to now then be the live connection, and that, by the looks of it, actually, I'm just looking at it now, should be a lot easier, because the live connector has a lot of different bolts on there that I can hopefully latch onto. So this should be the longest section of wiring a sub and amplifier into the car. And aren't we glad it's nearly over? So this is getting tight now. We are nearly there. Do you want to show them the back boot end of the sub again? The amplifier where the cables have all gone in. So once again, just make sure there's no copper on display here. There's no insulation core in the connection itself. And you want to give it a tug test as well. Just make sure you can give that a little tug and it's not going to come out. Once you're satisfied with that, then you can move into this part. And the last cable at all times is always the live cable. Now this is actually going to take the power from the battery up to the amplifier. So you always connect this last. And the reason for that is, obviously, if there's anything wrong, you can just get it away from it quick. Okay, now that's not going to happen today because I'm a professional. I know exactly what I'm doing. I'd like to tell people that anyway. Once again, we are going to undo this. I have a bit more room on this one, so this shouldn't take as long. And I can get my fingies in there as well. Now you're going to get a few sparks when this disconnects from the battery. Don't worry about that. As I was saying, the 12 volts doesn't have enough power to shock you. So although I'm working on a live terminal, it can't do any damage to me because it just doesn't have that strength to put the power through me. If you want to look cool in front of your mates, once this live is connected, grab the neutral bar and put that on the body of the car, and that will make a load of sparks come out. It will make you look really dangerous, and you're completely safe. It can't do you any damage.
But don't do that.
But don't do that unless you're really cool.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So once again, I apologise for this. This is the most boring part of this endeavour. But I can understand why they've made it so boring, because again, this is the most dangerous part of the installation. Come on, you little bugger. Yay! We done it, Lou.
You done it.
We done it. So again, you're just going to want to latch your cable onto that bolt and re-thread the washer on there. Sorry, the nut on there, and start tightening that up. Now, to save a bit of time, what you're going to want to do is just pray that that goes a little bit more loose, so that you can do it with your fingers. At the moment it's still pretty tight. Again, I'm sure they've made that purposefully like that in order to deter you from doing this yourself, but it's completely safe. Okay, we're going to reconnect now. That's going to give a bit of sparkage, just like that. Get on there as tight as possible, and then redo your bolt up. This is going to be the most boring part of anyone's day today, so if you're watching, just think it's only upwards from here. There you go. See, when you get it on there, it should go finger tight to begin with, and then you're going to want to tighten it up as hard as you can with the spanner, because you never ever want this to fall off the battery. Otherwise, again, you just lose all your power instantly. It doesn't matter if you're doing 90 on a motorway, it will just cut out, and that'll be that. So you want that as tight as possible. Okay, cool. Just going to check this one again, make sure it's tight. Okay, cool. And then just tuck these cables down the side, make them look a little bit presentable.
No one can see that though.
Yeah, but I will know it's there.
But no one can see it.
Yeah, but I will. Okay, let's have all my tools out. Cover back on the battery. And then squash that down. And as you can see, with a little bit of TLC, we'll be able to get this looking a bit beast mode. So you're going to want to pull a couple of these through. If there's anyone if there's anyone out there wondering about segregation, obviously you're supposed to segregate audio cables from power cables and whatnot, but at the end of the day it's going to be blowing out bass. No one cares if it's just a little bit of hum to it. It's not going to matter at all. And that's it. That's all you need to do. I'm going to make another video shortly of myself. I've got to give my girlfriend a lift, but I'm going to make another video shortly of myself tidying these up, making it all pretty, and then obviously I'll do the working show. I also have LED lights that are going to be going on the underside of the parcel shelf. They're going to go under there, and they're going to illuminate the sub once it's playing. So thanks for watching. That's everything you need to do when wiring in a sub. and I will be back shortly to show you the end product, as well as the LED lights I expect I'll do at night to show them working as well. Peace out, y'all.